must not cease from exploration. And the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we began and to know the place for the first time. A famous American author and playwright, T.S. Eliot, said that over 100 years ago. Eliot loved to read the stories of Mark Twain, with his characters exploring the Mississippi River in Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. Humans are made to explore. Exploration is what sets us apart from other creatures. The idea of taking the known path versus charting the unknown. I am standing where the unknown path of space exploration began in 1959. The great quest for space began here. I am standing in front of the Redstone rocket at the Mercury launch pad at Cape Canaveral. I'm excited to bring you here because it is not open to the public. I know that you all know about the moon landing and the space shuttle, but before those endeavors, we had the Mercury and Gemini projects. Every good scientist has to test their hypothesis to see if it works, which often results in not exactly the kind of results the engineers and scientists hope for, right? The same kind of test and failure happened in support of the mission. As I said in the last video, spin-offs are products that were created for the use by NASA that we now use in everyday life. For instance, a Mercury spin-off was WD-40. Canaveral, an aerospace contractor, first used WD-40 to protect the outer skin of the Atlas missile from rust and corrosion. The product actually worked so well that several employees snuck some WD-40 cans out of the plant to use at home. You may not have heard of it, but I can guarantee it's in almost everybody's garage. WD-40. It stands for Water Displacement 40. Why 40, you might ask? Because it took 40 times to get it just right. Think if you're afraid to answer a question wrong in class, how nervous NASA researchers must have been when they got it wrong 40 times. Tonight, ask your parent if you have any WD-40 in your garage. Alan Shepard was the first American to be launched into space. But the Mercury capsule was only able to hold one person with enough oxygen, food, and water for one day. NASA needed to make some major modifications for the next stage in manned spaceflight. Which brings us to Project Gemini. I'm standing near what's left of Launch Pad 19, where all 10 Gemini launches took place. It looks a little different nearly 50 years later, doesn't it? I have a lot more information about the beginning of NASA's space program and the history of Cape Canaveral in the info down below. Check out my interview with the archaeologist Tom Penders. Together, we visited old missile launch sites, and I also learned about Native American and Spanish history of the Cape. I also want to share my talk with Emily Perry, director of the Air Force Space and Missile Museum. She has an amazing amount of historic artifacts, everything from rockets and missiles to information on the astrochimps and I Dream of Jeannie. Next time, we'll talk about the moonshots of the Apollo missions. So for now, this is STEM Ed Lauren, signing off in 3, 2, 1.